What exactly are Tanzania saying about Kenya? I'm going to mention 5 things that Tanzania say about Kenya. One, Tanzania always say Kenyans are very aggressive. They say Kenyans, we are very aggressive in how we talk, on how we carry ourselves, on how we do business. And they are always intimidated by Kenyans when it comes to business because they say, Tanzania are very polite. Tanzania are very, they're into socialism, communism. It's their culture, it's the way they were um, brought up through the times of independence. So the time of the first president, that is His Excellency the late President Nyerere, and they had embraced communism, socialism. It was, they had this thing of communism where as a community you work together, you build together, and that root is still ingrained in them. While for Kenyans, when we got our independence, we really embraced the whole capitalism aspect through our late His Excellency the late President Kenyatta, Uhuru Kenyatta, our first president. So we embrace capitalism and we are very aggressive. When we see an opportunity as Kenyans, we come in and we go for it and we push the boundaries and we make sure we establish ourselves and we make sure we grow, we thrive. That is the nature of Kenyans. That is what is being a Kenyan when it comes to business. And it's true. You can see Kenyans wherever they go, they always try to thrive. They always try to become financially independent. They always try, to be successful. That is Kenyan nature. It's in them. It's ingrained in them. And Tanzania, they always tell you, okay, with this East African community aspect, it's a good idea, it's a good thing, but they are intimidated because they say Kenyans are very fast. When they see an opportunity, they move very fast and they're very aggressive. So they feel like we can overtake them. For example, if now they open up their country to Kenyans completely, like the whole East Africa community, where Kenyans can come in and just build their businesses in Tanzania and all that aspect. So they feel like Kenyans will overtake their country, and I understand where they're coming from. I understand where the Tanzanians are coming from, because nobody wants your neighbor to come over to your country and they overtake your country. I understand that too. Nobody wants that. Even Kenyans don't want people to come from outside from their neighbors also to come to Kenya and overtake Kenya. We understand that. But that is something which Kenya and Tanzania need to work on, and hopefully they'll come up with a compromise. The other thing that Tanzania, when they see Kenyans, they always say Kenyans corruption. Yes, Kenya corruption. It's one thing that is known by Tanzanians, and I think in the global index, I think we are also among top countries that are known that there's corruption in our country, and I feel like corruption, the government is really working on removing that corruption aspect, but there are some aspects here and there which are still continuing, and we still have a long way to go. But I feel like if we can overcome corruption in Kenya, I feel the country will be able to move forward like 100 times forward, because Kenya right now is developed. Kenya right now is thriving. Kenya right now is moving forward in all aspects. Now, remember, bearing in mind with the corruption, it's still existence. Now, imagine if there was zero corruption. Kenya will be miles ahead in terms of development, in terms of the way we do our economy, our agriculture sector, in all aspects will be miles ahead. In fact, I think we'll be among the first country in Africa where we are developed and we are moving faster. But the reality is corruption is still there, but the government is working, it's doing their best to remove it so that we're able to move forward as a country with zero corruption. The other aspect that Tanzanians are really, really looking at Kenya and they don't like about Kenya is the aspect where Kenyans embrace too much of the Western world. That's what they say. What do I mean by that? For example, the way Kenyans we carry ourselves more like we are in America. We carry ourselves more like we're in the Western world as compare us being in Kenya country in Africa. The way we talk, the way we carry ourselves, the way we dress, the way we do things, we carry more like we are in the Western world. And like when I see a Tanzania, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves, the way they dress, you can literally tell this is a Tanzania. The way they talk, their demeanor, everything you can tell is a Tanzania. But as Kenyans, we are more like Westerners, where we carry ourselves, the dressing, the way we talk, the way we do things, we carry ourselves like Westerners. Even the other day, I remember growing up, there was this competition where they came up with the national dress that we need to come up with the national dress, like where Nigerians have their own national dress, like other West African countries they have their own national dress, like the way we have Maasais who have their own national dress. There's a competition about that, and it was chosen. I don't know what happened to that, but yeah. So the country is trying to, Kenyans are trying to come up with aspect where we can identify ourselves as Kenyans. Are we Kenyan enough? We are Kenyan enough, but there are some things which we, of course, when our neighbors look at us, they wonder and they want us, not to change really, but there are some things which when we do, we feel like our neighbor country, they get intimidated by it. The other thing is the way we Kenyans talk English. My God. Um, Kenyans were very fluent in English. We're also very fluent in Kiswahili, but we are more fluent in English. We are very known in English. We're very, very conversant. We're very, very good at that. Tanzania, when they look at Kenyans, they know when it comes to speaking English, we are number one. And it's a fact because a Kenyan child, when the minute he or she is born and you're taken to kindergarten, even before you go to kindergarten, you're already in the house, you already know English words. In fact, you know English words more than Kiswahili words. And somebody proudly say, I know English, but I don't know Kiswahili. My Kiswahili is very bad. Proudly, they'll tell you that. So somebody goes to kindergarten, they finish kindergarten, they go to primary school, and you listen to the Kiswahili, the English, and you're thinking, okay, this kid was brought up in America, or this kid was brought up in Britain, because the accent, the way they pronounce words, you think they were brought up in America or in Britain, because that's they're fluent in English. But when it comes to Kiswahili, my God, you look at them and you wonder what the hell, what happened? Sorry for swearing. What really exactly happened? Because the Kiswahili is so bad. It's so bad. It's so broken Kiswahili until you're wondering, are you a Kenyan really? Are you African really? Are you an East African really? That's another aspect that for us Kenyans we are known for, and we need to change that. Although as Kenyans we are very proud the way we are, and we usually say we are very good at writing fluent Kiswahili because we use the kamusi. Kamusi is it's a dictionary. It's a Kiswahili dictionary that is known, that has fluent Kiswahili words, and Kenyans are known to use Kiswahili words that come from kamusi, unlike other countries where they use slang Kiswahili. So that's one thing I Kenyans need to know about Tanzania, how they feel about us. Do Tanzania admire Kenyans? Yes. Do they admire the way our country has developed? Yes. Do they admire the way we do business? Yes. Do they admire the way Kenyans carry themselves when it comes to appreciating their country, their patriotism, when we do, when you're advocating for our country, to move in the right direction, when you're doing our demonstration and everything, when we are so loud out there so that we're making sure the government is held accountable. They do admire about that, about Kenya in that aspect, because the Constitution of Kenya has put down safeguards where it allows Kenyans to have a voice, where they can speak loudly and explain when there's an issue that the Monanchi or the people of Kenya are not happy about. They can tell the government and the government will listen. All those aspects, safeguards, have already been put down in the Constitution of Kenya, and that's another aspect of Kenya that has really helped Kenya to move forward, and also has helped other countries or neighbor countries to look at Kenya like, oh, wow, they are doing something the correct way, and maybe one or another we might copy one or two things about Kenya, so that even them they can move in the right direction. So those are the aspects that I feel Tanzania look at Kenya and they're like, okay, intimidating at the same time. Some aspects where they admire about Kenya. What do you think?